There are monsters who hide in the dark. There are monsters who wear masks. And then there are those who smile, shake your hand, look you in the eyes, and ask where it hurts. Tonight's story isn't about some shadow lurking in a foggy alley. It isn't about a crazed madman with a blood-stained knife. This is about something far worse. A man whose greatest weapon wasn't strength, it was trust. Imagine living in a world where your doctor was one of the few people you believed could save your life. Every bottle of medicine offered hope. Every diagnosis brought reassurance. Every house call promised relief. Now imagine the same person quietly deciding who would live and who would die. Because sometimes evil doesn't announce itself with screams. But sometimes it arrives carrying a black medical bag, dressed in a crisp waistcoat, speaking in calm, educated words, and offering you the very thing that will kill you. So dim your lights, dear listeners. Pull up your chair a little closer, and remember, the most dangerous poison isn't always in the bottle. Sometimes it's the person handed to you. Welcome back, everyone, to the Arkins Hearth, a Not Dead Yet production produced on the RSS network. We're the podcast that believes your doctor has more poisons than prescriptions in his bag. I'm your host, Michael Jason Chandler, and with me tonight, as always, are...
Thorin Wolf, owner and operator of Arkins Juice Tavern and Arkins Hearth Gaming. And to my left...
The Ginger. How badly is Attack on Titan going to hurt me? Because Season 2 is getting rough.
Okay. I don't know. I haven't watched it.
Thorin?
I didn't get to watch that one yet.
Dang.
Yeah.
Comment. Let me know. Tell me if I need to stop now before I get hurt too bad.
No. Watch more.
But what if I cry?
That's nothing new.
You're not wrong.
So tonight, we journey back. We're exactly in the Jack the Ripper era, but no longer following Jack the Ripper. We're retracing the grimy footprints we left during our Jack the Ripper miniseries. The place where air could kill you, the water could kill you, and well, so would the local doctor. Now, when most people imagine Victorian England, they picture elegant gentlemen with top hats, ladies carrying parasols, horse-drawn carriages rolling through a fog-covered street, and everyone speaking with accents. So refined that even their insults sound expensive. But just as we did with Jack, let's gently yank off the monocle and peer deeply behind the glamour. What we find is hardly the stuff of fancy costume dramas. Victorian London was a city of endless coal smoke, sanitation so questionable it needed its own warning label, and a medical system that considered whiskey, cocaine, and a stern chat with God legitimate treatments. You didn't go to a doctor for a cure. You almost went for the experience, and maybe a haunting. Tuberculosis was everywhere. The water was gross. And dentistry? Oh, don't look it up. Nightmare fuel.
I have a problem with the dentist who just took out a tooth from a donkey and wanted to replace it in my mouth, missing a tooth.
We both have dentist trauma?
Oh, no, I would rather go to the doctor 1,000,000 times over than a dentist.
Have I told you my dentist story? Can I rabbit trail to tell you my dentist story?
You guys do realize I recently had a doctor drill 2 of my teeth apart and pull them out piece by piece, each broken into 4 pieces and pulled out with pliers.
Good
You too?
Lord.
You too. Yeah. Mine was 4.
Remember when I had surgery just
Oh,
the
yeah,
other day?
that's right.
Yeah, about a week ago.
Yep.
When I was writing scripts and going to the dentist in Bloomfield.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Jason
was
called
God.
No. You know what the thing is? Jason called me and told me, I don't know why my mouth won't stop bleeding. And I told him, maybe you should stop talking. And then he continued to talk for 3 hours.
Jason.
It stopped bleeding eventually.
Well, here's my dentist story. Are y'all ready for this? Buckle in. I know we're on page 2, I'm sorry.
That's
Okay, so, when I was a kid, my dentist was literally across the street from my house. And their name was Gentle Dental. That's a fucking lie. Okay? Fucking liars.
No, genteel. You made the
One
mistake.
day, my dad takes me over for my dentist appointment. I was probably 10 years old. Maybe a little younger. I don't know. I had 2 loose teeth. My 2, top canines, I think is what they were.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, they were pretty loose, but I had a terrible fear of getting my teeth pulled. So I go in and I was like, please promise you won't pull my teeth. Promise me you won't pull my teeth. And the lady fucking promised me. And I trusted this woman because she was also an archaeologist and I wanted to be an archaeologist when I grew up, right? She's a traitor. Okay, this bitch.
This bitch
Said to my face, she was like, don't worry, I'm not going to pull any of your teeth. This bitch
Pulled 2 of your teeth?
pulled the 2 loose teeth and then 4 molars on the top right with pliers because they weren't even fucking loose. I could hear them cracking.
Oh, yeah, I
She
know that
didn't
sound.
even ask my parents' permission before she did this.
Oh shoot! And you're a redhead, so
She didn't
anesthesia
give me very much.
It wouldn't have worked on you anyway.
No, it works. It's just you need more.
Yeah.
Well, whatever amount she gave me, I could feel everything, and it was not great. So I hate dentists. I will never go ever again.
Shout out to my dentist. We love you out there. Thank you for listening. We love all of our listeners.
I love you as people. I hate your profession.
I get into the chair just to get my teeth cleaned, right?
Yeah.
And I start fucking hyperventilating.
Oh, God.
I can't
Same.
control it. And the dentist is like, I can't work with you. What's going on? They had to put me out to pull this tooth. The one that's actually missing?
They need to make a dentist for neurodivergent people specifically.
So after brain surgery and getting the 75 staples pulled out of my head and the all of the different needles and, dentist doesn't scare me that bad anymore. They did when I was young. But then I had the brain surgery and it just doesn't bother me like it used to.
Did anything else happen when you lost that tooth?
No, I was out.
Okay.
No, okay, but the reason is because I went to this dentist, and I won't say where it is. I won't say where it is. But this little sweet Ukrainian woman literally pumped me full of enough drugs to kill an elephant. That is exactly what she told my girlfriend, now my wife. Got on my chest.
What the fuck?
And pulled my 4 wisdom teeth out.
Kinky.
I wish.
So was Dr. Cream a dentist, or was he just a doctor? And
He's just a doctor, and you guys...
We rabbit trailed on scary doctors.
So anyways, they're freaking out about dentists. They can't even think about Victorian dentists, also known as barbers. So...
I got stories about doctors, too.
What was the average life expectancy of a person in Victorian England?
40. Sorry.
40.
I did not mean to steal your thunder.
No, that's fine. I was actually going to say 45 to 50.
Oh, okay.
40 was the average.
Okay.
So 8 years younger than me.
Yeah.
You survived!
That means I die in October.
Yeah, well, it's a good run.
1298.
Shut up.
I love that you have to join me now. Welcome to the 40s, motherfucker. So, it was a world where science was sprinting ahead. And I mean, if you think about it, yes, it's terrifying, the 1880s and 90s. But, I mean, think about what, we talked about this before. It's only, 40, 50 years away from, antibiotics. It's like science, medical sciences is going to advance at a speed that's breakneck from this point forward. This was a strange and fascinating era. That's why it attaches itself to us and our legends so heavily. From Jack the Ripper to H.H. Holmes, not only was the time interesting, but the killers were too. And in this strange and fascinating era, one of those unsettling killers, a man who looked educated, successful, and socially trusted, was Thomas Neill Cream. And while history remembers him as a doctor, that title is about as misleading as calling Jack the Ripper a enthusiastic hobbyist. Because behind the medical degree was a poisoner, a manipulator, a blackmailer, a murderer, a man who discovered that if society already trusted you, getting close to a victim was easy. Unlike many killers we've covered, Cream didn't stalk the streets carrying a knife or leap out from the shadows. He didn't claim to be possessed by demons that were their neighbor's dog. He didn't blame ancient curses or wear masks. He just walked into people's lives carrying a medicine bag. Because nothing says trustworthy like a man offering you a mysterious bottle labeled drink name.
Is he like Sweeney Todd?
Well, let's find out. No, he doesn't kill with razors or anything.
No,
He's a
but I
poisoner.
mean, like, well, I understand that. You said he was a poisoner, but, like, people trusted Sweeney Todd to shave their faces in his chair. Trust this guy.
Trust, okay. I don't think he
Listen,
eats them.
I make connections, and they make sense to me.
Indeed. All right, well, Thomas Neill Cream was born on May 27th, 1850, in Glasgow, Scotland. When he was a child, his family immigrated to Quebec, Canada. By every outward appearance, his future was promising. He came from a respectable family. He received a good education. He appeared intelligent, ambitious, and capable. If you'd met him as a young man, you probably wouldn't have remembered him at all. He looked exactly like the type of person that Victorian society admired. He was simple, plain, just a young man growing up in an uninteresting way. Eventually, he would attend McGill University and graduate with a medical degree in 1876. Cream's thesis focused on chloroform.
Wait, they had chloroform studies back then?
Oh, yeah. They were playing around with chloroform, and what was the other one? They would put a cotton over your face, and they would ether.
Yeah,
That was the
ether.
thing. They
Yep.
were ether and chloroform. It was ways to put people out so that you could do surgeries on them.
See, I've only ever heard of chloroform used. I mean, I've heard it used historically in surgery, but now it's just for drugging people and then
Knocking them
kidnapping
out
them.
and kidnapping them. Yeah.
Yep. I watch too many crime shows, so.
Well, his interest in chloroform didn't prove anything by itself. Thousands of medical students studied dangerous substances without becoming serial killers. But in hindsight, it does feel a little bit like discovering that a future bank robber wrote a college dissertation called Future Felon's Guide to Academia. Still, nothing in his early life clearly predicted that anything was coming, at least not at first. But historians examined his life later, and certain patterns did become difficult to ignore, especially where women were concerned. It's an interesting thing in Victorian England, how many guys have issues in some way or another with women.
Makes me wonder if they were compensating for something.
Okay, wow.
Wow.
Hot take from the only
No,
female
listen,
podcaster here tonight.
Listen, that's not what I meant. Cut out what I said
Spiders
because I
are
said the
terrifying.
wrong words.
That's okay.
I meant to say...
I liked your wrong words. They were
But
interesting.
they're the wrong words. I meant to say, to imply they were in the closet.
Oh, not that they... Okay.
Because it was Victorian.
Okay, so they didn't have small penises. They just like putting them in different holes.
It's late. I'm saying the wrong words. So just take it all out.
No,
Make
it's
it
funny.
go away.
I mean,
It's
we'll
not
see.
funny.
We'll see.
Mr. Chandler, please.
Oh, Mrs. Chandler's going back to school. Mr. Chandler's doing the editing.
Oh, fuck my life.
Yeah, we gotta be real careful what we say for this one.
Mrs. Chandler's worse than Mr. Chandler. There's been a bunch of stuff I would have cut out that she doesn't. So
Yeah, but I feel like this specific one she would understand and have mercy on me. Maybe.
Sure, we'll see.
Compensate
So-
for something.
Shut up! Maybe they were. Maybe they had problems with women because their dicks were small.
Thank you for being.
Please
so
keep that in.
No! Shut up!
So,
Okay, let's move on. We'll figure this out later.
so let's say our safe word to get off of rabbit trailing, as we
Compensation.
sometimes do, is let's say our safe word is maybe.
Maybe?
Maybe is never a good safe word.
Oh my god.
Pineapple.
Pineapple! So not long after completing medical school, Cream became involved with a young woman named Flora Brooks. Brooks, I'm going to say it, I actually wrote Brooks became pregnant, but I always love in podcasts and in things where they say, Brooks fell pregnant. I almost love how it's like almost like it was an accident.
Like-
He tripped and fell.
On his tiny pig
Brooks
penis.
fell pregnant.
If we keep joking about it, it won't get cut out.
Yes, stop it. You're compensating for something.
I'm sorry.
My lack of sleep.
So Brooks fell pregnant, according to historical accounts, and Cream attempted to perform an abortion. The procedure went about as well as Victorian dental appointments, done blindfolded,
Oh, God.
disastrously. Flora Brooks died shortly after. Now, historians continue debating some of the details surrounding this case. No murder conviction ever resulted, but there were a lot of unanswered questions. Some researchers consider the incident significant because it appeared to mark the beginning of a pattern that would follow Cream through the rest of his life. A disturbing pattern, because as the years passed and Cream moved from place to place, women would continue to die. Sometimes after treatments, sometimes after receiving medicine, sometimes under circumstances that generated whispers, rumors, the Victorian equivalent of a Reddit thread, but never quite enough evidence to cause problems for Neill Cream. Nothing that would bring him down because, let's face it, in that era, being a doctor meant you were trusted.
That make you an untouchable?
You would need a lot
Okay.
to convince people. And they didn't have enough to convince people. At least not yet.
It was easy for them to look past him as a suspect of anything.
Right. Well, and a lot of times, somebody dies, you ask the doctor,
Well, what happened?
what happened? You know, the doctor is supposed to be the one who knows by looking at the body. And that's one of the most frustrating aspects. When we look back, it's easy to see signs. The guy was obsessed with chloroform. The first woman he impregnated, he killed on his own table. But people living through these events couldn't see what was really going on. What they saw were isolated incidents. Bad luck, tragedies, coincidences. Nobody yet realized they might be watching the opening chapters of a serial killer story. And Thomas Neill Cream was only getting started.
Do we get a number of people he killed before you tell us in the script? Can I guess? I'm gonna go with 30 people.
I'm gonna amp that up to 50.
You know what? Thorin could be right.
I'm
scared to overestimate. I'm just saying if he got away with it.
I'm thinking it's more like 7.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm just
9 or
saying.
10 or something.
If he got
But I
away
will
with
show
it.
you a picture of him.
No way! He's wearing the top hat that Jack the Ripper didn't wear.
And the monocle.
Oh, man.
Got a
way.
monocle.
Oh, man. He's Mr. Peanut.
But yeah, no, 7 to 10. Looks like his victims. 7 to
Oh,
10.
well.
Dang it.
We both
Not-
lost. The
Not
Price is
that
Right.
I'm rooting for him to kill more people. I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
going to
yeah.
say he could have gotten away with a lot more probably.
So by the 1870s and the 1880s, Cream had established himself as a physician in Canada and later in Chicago. And this is where the story becomes more something you might double check because Victorian medicine created the perfect environment for Dr. Neill Cream. For a person like him, medical regulations were very inconsistent and unclear at times. Forensic science was before its infancy. We talked about that in the Jack the Ripper series. Poisons were easy to obtain, far more than people realized. You could literally just go to a drugstore and buy any number of poisons, arsenic and laudanum and just a lot of different things.
But why?
People would poison rats.
Does that mean arsenic and old lace was not that far-fetched?
Oh, actually, there's a
Oh, no.
historians and back in the day, if a man was beating his wife and she didn't have a father to protect her and she didn't have a brother to protect her, remember, women were barely out of being literal property at this point. There have been a number of cases and a number of investigations that suggested that buying a vial of arsenic might have been a good way to deal with an abusive husband. Women had very few rights. They couldn't own land a lot of the time. They couldn't have a bank account. Your father, your husband, they ran everything. And if a man who ran your life and practically owned you decided to beat you, what could you do?
Poison him, I guess?
There have been studies that have gone back and looked at taken soil samples of potentially abusive men, and
the soil has a lot of arsenic in it.
That's crazy.
Now, arsenic can be naturally produced in that soil, but I read a story once that talked about one woman who had a number of men in her life that were violent, and there were men around her life and when they went to check, really high levels of arsenic.
I was just wondering, because I grew up watching that movie, Arsenic and Old Lace.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen that movie, right?
I was in the play.
Yeah.
There's a play?
Oh, yeah.
I just know...
That's what I thought you were talking... I didn't know there was a movie.
Yeah.
There's a movie?
Yeah, it's from, forever ago. It had... Didn't it have Jimmy Stewart?
I think so.
It had some old guy.
Old guy. Arsenic.
It had Cary Grant. It was the other one.
There you go.
Okay.
The other one. Because there were just the two actors
There's the two that I know the names of.
You never heard of Bogey or Gable?
Oh, yeah.
Or,
Bing Crosby.
Okay, don't listen. From the movies that were that genre.
Oh, man. Kelly. What was it? That was last name was Kelly.
Gene Kelly.
No, was that the guy that was in...
The dancer, Gene Kelly, Singing in the Rain.
Yes, okay. I guess that is the same guy.
Yeah.
Huh. No, I was talking about the one, the medieval one where he's
I think that was still Gene Kelly.
Is that Gene Kelly? Okay.
Yeah. In pretty much everywhere at this time, doctors enjoyed extraordinary public trust. When a physician handed you medicine, you took it. You wouldn't question it. Why would you? You didn't know better. You couldn't look it up. There wasn't a commercial that said if you're having these symptoms, maybe you have tuberculosis, though that would be a sad commercial because there was no treatment for tuberculosis. But the point is, nowadays, we know far too much about drugs, far too much about symptoms, far too much about diseases that sometimes are incredibly rare. And I'm sure people are going and saying, I saw a commercial, I have all of those symptoms, please give me this medicine.
WebMD is the enemy.
I don't know that it's the enemy. I think it can be used.
It is for hypochondriacs.
It's a problem sometimes, but doctors use it too. Doctors can't memorize everything. And sometimes, YouTube, I've known doctors who looked stuff up on YouTube, not because they didn't know what they were doing. You don't want a doctor that isn't always learning and never goes back to double check what they know. Good doctors do. But back then, everybody trusted them. Everybody took the medicine given. If a physician offered advice, you listened. If a physician explained a death, for the most part, everybody just accepted that explanation. Thomas Neill Cream recognized all of these, and he learned how to exploit them. Patients would become sick. Women would die under suspicious circumstances. Rumors would follow him. Questions surfaced, then disappeared. And once again, suspicion just wasn't enough. People wouldn't disbelieve a doctor without evidence. Clear, irrefutable, until a man named Daniel Stott entered the story. In 1881, Daniel Stott died from strychnine poisoning. Now, if you're unfamiliar with strychnine, imagine somebody looked at the concept of poisoning and decided it wasn't horrifying enough. Strychnine causes violent muscle contractions, painful convulsions, extreme suffering, and often death through respiratory failure. Your body just contorts, you stop breathing, and you die.
Is there another use for it that's not poison?
Well, let's look that up.
I feel like I've heard that word a lot.
Well, strychnine, it's been around forever.
So while you're looking that up, is everybody else trying to not make the Cream jokes?
A little bit.
Okay.
It's not just you.
Because in Cream's hands, he was
I'm fine.
You wrote the script. You probably got it all out in your head when you wrote the script.
He says this with a giant smile on his face.
I'm a horrible person.
This is why you really wanted to do this story.
No, not truly. But, strychnine was often it was used as a pesticide, of course, as that's the thing. It could be put in tonics, sometimes in small amounts, used for digestive and cardiac aid, sexual vitality. This is all Victorian uses. Nervous system stimulant to combat exhaustion. So performance, it says that it was used for doping. I think it's all about doses.
Oh.
It had, and a lot of things have a different effect in a small enough dose. I mean, Botox is botulism toxin. When everybody talks about Botox, it's botulism.
What?
Yep.
It's a poison.
It is.
In large enough amounts, it will kill you real fast. Which is why when you do Botox, if you do it for beauty reasons or even if you're doing it for like migraines, they want to be really careful. And they will go through all of your medications and they'll want to really do what's called a full med review to make darn sure you don't have anything that interacts with botulism or has more botulism in it, because too much botulism and you die. Strychnine had a lot of uses. Probably half of them were crap.
I
Victorian
know where
England.
I've heard strychnine before. Perry Mason.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
So, medically speaking, this was terrible poison to use. Unlike previous suspicions that Dr. Cream encountered, investigators did begin assembling a real case, possibly just because of the horrific elements around this man's death. Watching him die had to have been horrible. Witnesses came forward, evidence accumulated, and some connections emerged. And perhaps for the first time, Dr. Cream found himself facing consequences he couldn't easily avoid. And he was eventually convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. And maybe for one glorious moment, it seemed like this story was over. The killer had been caught, justice served, nightmare over.
So, I love this, but I thought we were going back to stories in, New Mexico and Colorado and Utah. And
Bear with
everything.
me.
Okay. Okay.
And I will admit that this, I made a mistake here.
Oh.
I read something about poisoners in America and in the Southwest specifically. His name came up. And I read some things that suggested him as a poisoner in this area. And that's what led me down to write this script. It actually is really murky whether or not he ever was a poisoner in the Southwest. The problem being he has a number of missing years, and there were so many people traveling the Southwest selling tonics and medicines, and there were quite a few poisoners. It's not verified, but we'll get into it.
Also, if he was convicted in Chicago and Victorian Canada.
Yeah.
It was Canada. It was Canada. So, if he ended up in Chicago, wouldn't he have already lost his license?
Oh, no. Victorian doctor didn't lose their license. You're still a doctor. You still have a useful skill.
You're
Or
just
go
a
to
doctor that went to jail?
Or go to prison?
Well, let's find out.
Okay.
So, before we wrap anything up, I want to mention what happened when I researched this script, and I'll go forward with that. Like every good intent rabbit hole, one search turned into another, and before long, I found myself reading claims that Thomas Cream may have killed in the American Southwest, specifically Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Now, before anyone starts telling me how I've messed up in history, let's be very clear. I did not find, when I went back and checked those sources, I didn't find any verified evidence that Cream had murdered in the Southwest. There are no court records and no newspaper evidence and no medical licenses listed for him. And so I don't have credible historical evidence to conclude that that's what he did. But here's where it gets interesting. Historians have acknowledged that there were periods of time in Cream's life before he was caught where his day-to-day moments are not documented, and there are missing stretches that have led some research to ask the question.
While there's no evidence placing Thomas Cream in the American Southwest as a killer, it's worth noting that gaps in the documented movements of Cream after he studied medicine in the 1870s and practiced in Canada do exist, and he wasn't in Chicago until the early 1880s, where he could have been guilty of numerous murders. It wasn't until 1881 when he killed Daniel Stott. He went roughly 10 years imprisoned in Illinois and was released in 1891. That's when he returned to England, when he committed the Lambeth poisonings. the least documented period of his life does fall between that 1876 and 1880 period, and this was before he committed his first confirmed murder. Historians have no evidence that he traveled along the southwest, but they can not account for his movement during those years. Poisoning itself was far from unusual in the American West. Arsenic and strychnine were inexpensive, widely available. They were used in pharmacies, mining operations, ranches, pest control, and deaths from poisoning could easily be mistaken for diseases like cholera, dysentery, and food poisoning before modern toxicology became widespread. Although sensational newspaper coverage made poisoners seem far more common than they actually were, poisoning was recognized as a genuine method of homicide throughout the 19th century. The Southwest and neighboring western states also saw notable poisoning cases during this period and after this era. Cases like Minnie Wallace Walla, who was accused of using arsenic to murder wealthy men in Texas during the 1880s and 1890s. Cordelia Botkin, operating from California in 1898, became famous for mailing arsenic-laced chocolates that killed 2 women. While outside the Southwest, Thomas Neill Cream himself demonstrated how mobile a 19th century poisoner could be, committing murders in North America and England over the course of his career. None of this proves Cream ever killed in the Southwest, but given the incomplete record of his whereabouts, the fact that poison was both readily available and difficult to detect at the time, it remains possible. However, again, I did mess up, and there was no direct evidence that he poisoned in the Southwest, though he did in 2 or 3 countries.
And it's a fair question.
Oh, okay.
There are some who have questioned if Cream's undocumented travels hid additional victims, and there are theories that even place him in mining towns near the American Southwest. The evidence is murky, and there isn't proof that he practiced in Arizona, New Mexico, or Texas. This is one of those mysteries born from gaps in the historical record. So I fell for this. I admit this was a mistake on my part. I read some stuff, and they were like, totally he killed in Arizona. And I wrote the script and then went, crap.
Jason made another mistake.
Shut up. But it is possible that he had victims that were never discovered, and many serial killers will have victims that we never identify. But sometimes history isn't frightening because of what we know. It's frightening because of what we don't know. The Southwest was a place where you could go. Remember, the same thing we said in the Jack the Ripper series. A person could move 50 miles away, change their name, even say they're a doctor. And if they know what they're talking about, people would believe them.
Man, we reference the Jack the Ripper stories a lot in this one.
In this one, well, and there is a reason for that. And that is that Niel Cream was believed to have traveled to London.
And you guys thought we were done with Jack the Ripper.
Well,
this is one of Jason's tisms.
Hey, you know what? Probably. If you listen to the Jack the Ripper, you will find out that
the 5,000 page scripts.
But Niel Cream has been listed as a Jack the Ripper suspect.
After serving his time in Illinois for the murder of Daniel Stott, Thomas Neill Cream was released when Governor Joseph F. Pfeiffer commuted his sentence, an action many historians believe may have been influenced by political connections or bribery, though exact circumstances are debated. Cream briefly returned to Canada to collect an inheritance, but then he set off to England. This is how he could be even considered a Ripper suspect, though that was impossible as the Ripper killings had ended by then. He did settle in another impoverished London district known as Lambeth. Within 2 weeks of his arrival, killings began. Posing as a respectable physician, Cream targeted vulnerable women, again, primarily sex workers, and he offered them pills or drinks laced with strychnine. Between October 1891 and October 1892, he murdered Ellen Nell Donworth, Matilda Clover, Alice Marsh, and Emma Shrivel, while at least one intended victim, Lou Harvey, survived after secretly discarding the pills he gave her. Ironically, Cream's habit of sending anonymous blackmail letters and accusing innocent people of the murders ultimately drew Scotland Yard's attention and led to his arrest. He was convicted in October of 1892 and hanged at Newgate Prison.
Oh. Well,
Okay. See, and you thought he was compensating for
However,
something.
his executioner
Oh.
did say that his last words were,
I'm Jack the Ripper?
just I'm Jack.
Dang it!
So Cream was imprisoned in Joliet, Illinois, serving his sentence for the poisoning that we just discussed, from 1881 to 1891, which means he was thousands of miles away during the 1888 Jack the Ripper killings in London. He is not Jack the Ripper, but he was an egomaniac. He did want to be infamous. He wanted notoriety. He was a killer, but unlike the knife attacks of Jack the Ripper, he was a poisoner.
Yeah, poisoning is very different than mutilation.
Some of this, I found it interesting, and I didn't want to get rid of the script completely, because Victorian history will sometimes behave like a horror movie franchise. Just when you think it's over, here's the sequel. You know, there's no way that Niel Cream was Jack the Ripper. He wasn't there. He was in Illinois in prison.
Yeah.
But he's listed. I thought he was in London at the time. He wasn't.
Then why is he
4
a
years
suspect?
after. Because there's over 100 suspects, and a lot of them don't have a whole lot of basis. Like the horror movies, these stories sometimes have a habit of telling about a villain, and the villain will come back over and over again. And unfortunately, Niel Cream is in no way as famous as Jack the Ripper. But he was a poisoner. He murdered women. He killed a man with strychnine and put him through horrific torture. There are people out there that seem to want him to have killed in other places and created the rabbit trail I went down. And there are people who want him to be Jack the Ripper, even though he wasn't there. So that's pretty much it. I wanted to present this almost as I'm not perfect.
Nah, you did good, Jason.
My feeling on this was that stories are difficult sometimes. The records are muddled. I literally started this believing that this was a murderer who had killed in Arizona and was a suspect of Jack the Ripper. And he was neither of those things. It was impossible for him to be. He was hung 4 years after the Ripper murders ended. What he was another serial killer and another poisoner. There were like two other poisoners. There was H.H. Holmes, and then there was the one that we actually covered. Maybrick was the diary. I'm missing my brain. I'm a little tired, but
It's about midnight while we record this one.
yeah.
We've had a hard week.
I'm just saying, I wanted to do this as a way of showing how quickly and how easily a tired researcher can write a script that doesn't fit what they're trying to fit it to. God, do you know how happy I was when I thought that there was an American or a Canadian poisoner who was a Jack the Ripper suspect and a murderer in Arizona? I thought I'd hit the Arkins Hearth jackpot. Instead, I messed up and covered a case that does not fit our normal modus.
So you get a bonus.
So here's another bonus, guys. This is a good lesson in everybody gets some good sleep.
Yeah, get some sleep.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
And maybe question your doctors.
Yeah.
Maybe it's okay. Don't take any mystery pills. Maybe be careful. Question everything. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. This was a bit of a shorter episode, but as I said, I was tired, and it was, well, let's put it this way, a big mistake on my part. Just a little caveat and a little end on our Jack the Ripper series. Another suspect that is almost belonging in the funny suspect section.
Okay, so next week we get back to
Next week we will get back to the Southwest proper.
Okay.
We will be beginning our next season after we do the graveyard. So we're going to do the graveyard episode. That'll be our last one, and then we will be moving.
So this is our last actual episode for this season.
Kind of official, yeah.
Oh, man.
And we're going to continue on, folks. We've got a lot of things planned. We're going to work on John Wayne Gacy.
Drop some Colorado stories in the comments because we've neglected Colorado. We love you, Colorado.
Oh, no, Colorado, you're next on my list. Oh,
Rocky
you
Mountain
are.
High.
Arizona's had a little bit of attention. But I'm
Utah
not
got
done
a
with
little
you.
bit of attention. Albuquerque, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, Albuquerque
We'll
would
leave you
for a
alone
while.
for a little bit.
For a minute.
For a
I
second.
say that, and then we're going to write a script and go, damn it, they were killed in Albuquerque.
Shit!
It's going to happen. But no, we're gonna try to go into Colorado, and we're going to try to go a little bit more in Arizona. They have weirdness, they have aliens, they have murder. And, you know, we're going to talk about John Bonet. We're going to talk about... we're going to go ahead and talk about we are going to come back to New Mexico for the
that
horrible,
one.
horrible,
no.
the toy box killer.
Yeah, we've been trying to stay away from that one.
He's not a favorite of mine, but we're not going to talk about that for now.
There will be disclaimers on that one.
Yeah, that one's a rough one, and I don't like it. I think it's a gross case, and he's a gross being, and I really don't know how I'm going to write that one because he's disgusting. He was just it's just something. I mean, there are stories that the psychology's interesting and the concepts are interesting. That case is just not. It's just horrible. So we'll get there. We'll do that. Unfortunately, we'll talk about. We will definitely do Ted Bundy because he killed in Utah, so he qualifies as something that happened in the Four Corners.
Sweet.
We've got some cryptids coming up.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is I will admit I don't really, it's funny. I was talking
Ginger
to
and I are doing cryptids.
I was talking to Thorin. It's
Yeah.
like murder, yeah, aliens, great, cryptids, all you. And that's not to say that I have a problem with cryptids. I do not. It's just not my thing. When I go on deep dives and when I go look at things, I don't look at cryptids.
Ginger.
It's going to be really new for me.
Ginger,
I think.
that means you and I get to do the really cool intros?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to come up with some good ones.
I'll give
Cold,
you a
cold
sneak
opens
peek.
are fun.
I'll
Cold
give you
opens.
a sneak peek for the first one. It's a bird. It's a plane. Oh wait, it's actually a bird, and that's all you get.
Yeah.
It's not Superman.
It's
No.
not Superman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Superman's not a cryptid.
Isn't he?
No.
Isn't he?
He's an alien. That's yours.
I know, yeah, Superman's not real. So anyways, stay weird, stay skeptical. Remember, if your doctor ever winks at you while handing over a prescription, just run away. Run away fast.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Good night, everybody.